Okay, on to the Workspace updates. This is probably not going to be a massively used feature. Android tablets are getting a new formatting sidebar. So I'll leave that there. I won't mention that much longer. I don't know how many schools are using Android tablets. But if you are, that is right there for you. So new formatting sidebar on Android tablets. Next up is, there's a couple of Google Slides updates this month. So a few sort of usability features. The first one is just replacing backgrounds within Google Slides. So rather than having to import your background, import your image, you can now just drag and drop the image on top of the existing background, and that will be replaced. There's an update coming to, and it hasn't rolled out, at least I haven't seen it yet, the comments within Google Docs. There's going to be better tools to filter, sort, and manage the comments. There's going to be better ways to be able to expand comments and minimize comments and just basically work through those. If you've ever been in a document, I'm sure we all have, where we have many people commenting and all those comments kind of get overlaid, and it's difficult to track which part of the text the comment is referring to. If you've got a lot of comments, hopefully this should improve that usability there. Okay, a small update to the admin console. So admin privileges for mobile device management are being enhanced, and you can now granularly assign admins to specific OUs. If you're managing mobile devices, then you have additional controls on assigning those admin privileges by OU. Okay, and this is the one I'm really waiting for. This is sort of, I think this is the big release of the month. Creating immersive presentations within Google Slides. What it is, you can actually insert yourself on a Google slide. I'm really looking forward to this, because rather than me appearing as a separate tile, you should be able to insert yourself within a Google slide. I haven't seen it on any of our domains yet, but look at it, this was just announced, I think, last week, and it will be rolling out over the next couple of weeks. So you go to a toolbar and there's an insert button, and it's a speaker spotlight that you can drop into the Google slide. So be looking forward to seeing how that rolls out. Oh, that is only, yeah, good point. That is only for Education Plus domains. Okay, another announcement. This really came out of BET. We shared this already in the community a couple of times. Just a reminder, the Google for Education pilot program, there's a lot of features which are perhaps in beta or in testing, and Google will roll those out to the pilot program first. If you want to be a part of that, there is, you can see the short link down there, goo.gle, EduPilot program. Go ahead and sign up there. But the interesting one is the pilot program for AI. So if you're interested in signing up for the pilot program for AI, the link is on the slide there as well. That's a great way to get advanced access to some of the features that have been announced and that may be launching in the next few months. Okay, a small update to Google Meet. Google Meet is getting a companion mode for your mobile device. So the companion mode is basically if you're in a live meeting, for example, and there is a poll or you want to add a reaction to the meeting, and it's a hybrid meeting where you're in the meeting room, but there are people joining remotely, this is a great way to make it interactive for everybody. So you can use your mobile device to interact. You can share emojis, raise your hand, turn on captions if you want to view subtitles, and more as well. Okay, a small update here to Google Chat. You can now share Google Spaces, chat spaces, via smart chips in Google Chat. So if you wanted to refer to another Google Chat space, perhaps there's a project chat space, for example, and you just want to link that into the chat, you can now use smart chips to do that. It has been notoriously difficult to share the link to a chat up until now. You'd have to open up the chat in a separate window, copy the URL. Now you can just do it with smart chips. Okay, and within Google Meet, another update for Google Meet, you can now pin multiple tiles for all meeting participants. So what this enables you to do, if you have multiple speakers and perhaps a single screen share, you can now pin multiple people so they would appear for everybody. It is possible for viewers to unpin people. So you can pin them for everyone. I believe that the viewer can unpin them. But this is great if you got multiple people, rather than appearing and disappearing when they speak, they would all be appearing at the same time. Okay, update to filters and connected sheets and Looker. I think there's going to be, I'm just curious actually, could anybody raise their hand if they're using connected sheets for BigQuery? Paul Swanson, I'm thinking of you maybe. Yep, it's a good guess. So Paul, this one's for you. So there's been a couple of releases recently for connected sheets. There was an improvement about a month ago about using formulas within connected sheets. They, rather than using sort of the SQL or the Looker Studio format, it uses the sort of Google Sheets format, a better way of formatting your formulas. And then this update as well just allows you better usage of filters. Okay, a small usability update to Google Docs. There's going to be a button for you to change between pageless and page mode within Google Docs. You can see the little GIF there, just showcasing that. This is an update to Google Calendar for developers. If you're using the Classroom API, you have granular control upon which updates or notifications you're going to receive from your users. Again, probably a little tech heavy on this one, but if you are using the Calendar API, you have better control of those notifications. Okay, this one, we were trying to do this morning, but it doesn't look like we have access to this yet. You can now pin chat messages in Google Meet. So we have our Google Chat. We wanted to be able to pin our James 2 messages there with the update slide deck and the Q&A doc. I don't think it's rolled out to our domain just yet, but you'll have the ability to pin messages at the top. It's really good when you jump into larger meetings. I was in a meeting with 300 people last week with Google, and people are hammering away their comments and their messages, and all the resources are getting lost because they're going behind hundreds of chat messages. And now the meeting host can pin those messages at the top. Okay, perhaps I thought Peter and I were talking about this earlier. I thought this had already been generally released, but it's the class templates and classwork in Google Classroom. You can share class templates or share Google Classroom classwork within your domain. So if you're creating resources, if teachers are creating resources, then they can share those resources. This is only available to Education Plus. Okay, there's a few updates to Google Calendar appointment scheduling, and these will be useful if you have a team managing an appointment schedule, or if you have an assistant managing your calendar as well. So one of these is you're able to add 20 co-hosts to your appointment schedule, so that you can host appointments with others as well. So rather than being an individual appointment schedule, it becomes kind of a team appointment schedule. So that is coming up. And what you can also do now is you can actually create appointment schedules on secondary calendars. So rather than being on your primary calendar, rather than it being a personal appointment schedule just on your primary calendar, you can actually create this on a secondary calendar and give people access to that secondary calendar. So it really opens it up, and you're able to make an appointment schedule for a team, for example, for an IT team. People could create an appointment with the IT team, and then anybody within that team would be able to have access to that appointment. Also in that as well is the ability to add delegation access as well. So if a user is delegating access to their email account, to their Gmail account, you're now able to do that with Google Calendar appointments as well. So for example, a personal assistant, they could be managing your appointment schedule as well as your Gmail account. Oh, and finally, the fourth one there is you can check calendars for availability. So you can, any of the calendars added to your appointment schedule, you can cross-check those for availability. Okay, small update here to Google Drive. There's just there's a big fanfare about this. It's really just a button change between the list and the grid toggle view within Google Drive. Don't think we needed a big release for that, but it is useful. Okay, and so Google Slides received this a little while ago. You can jump to where your collaborator is within Google Slides by clicking on their icon. So if you click on their icon, you'll go straight to the slide where they're editing, and they're releasing the same functionality to Google Sites as well. So Google Slides and Google Sites will work in the same way. If you're working on a Google site with a collaborator, you click on their icon, it will take you to where they are editing. There are now additional closed caption support languages within Google Meet. And they're all listed there as well. I think this is the full list. Or is just, I think this might just be the additional ones. Yeah, anyway, if you click through to closed captioning on there, it will give you the full list. I think actually this is just the additional list. There's actually now a full list of many more languages there as well. Okay, so Google Chat content is getting a new moderation tool. It actually sits alongside the Gmail moderation tool as well. So when a user reports an inappropriate message or inappropriate content, it's all going to be sent to the moderation tool within the admin console. This is unique to the Education Plus and Education Standard versions of Google Workspace. But now super admins will have access to the centralized moderation tool, but they can also assign a granular admin privilege. And so if you wanted to delegate access to one of your admins specifically to Google Chat moderation or Gmail moderation, the reporting tool, you would be able to do that. Okay, maybe just sort of a general talk around this update to Gmail. So Google is doing a lot to cut down on spam that users are receiving and that people are sending as well. And so we can actually talk to this from both sides. Probably seen recently over the last year or two, Google has improved its unsubscribe button. And they're doing this again. They're making this more visible now. When you click on unsubscribe, you can unsubscribe or you can report spam. It's just becoming more visible. From a sender's perspective, we're an organization, and in fact, probably most schools do this as well. We send a lot of emails to schools that we work with. Schools are sending emails to parents of students and families. And Google is requiring additional controls when senders, you have to be a verified sender, and you have to have double opt-in as well for sending to people on your mailing lists. So there's a couple of sides to this as well. So it really should be a good way to cut down on a lot of the spam that we're receiving. It's also good to be aware if you're sending to Gmail users, just to be aware of those changes as a sender as well.
Just on that one, James, I'd also recommend everyone read the new guidelines for bulk senders. And it's things you're probably already doing, but just making sure you've set up your SPF records, have you set up DKIM and DMARC for authenticating your emails, just making sure you've got those things in place to ensure that your emails you're sending out don't go to user spam. So do have a look at those guidelines.
Thank you, Peter. Okay, another Android tablet release and foldable device. I just got rid of my foldable. I was an early user of the Samsung Fold device, screen cracked twice, no longer am. So it's not relevant to me, but if anybody's using those foldable devices, this is for you. So Android tablets are getting a better experience with Google Drive. Okay, a small update to Google Chat. Again, this is on mobile, just the ability to star messages within on mobile. So if you're checking your chat messages, you can star messages so you can easily retrieve them or go back to them later. A small update to Google Meet. You can actually join meetings now as a guest. So if you have the link of the Meet shared with you, you would not need to sign into Google to join the Meet. You can use the link to join. Okay, so you wouldn't need to sign in. I think somebody was asking about this a while ago, actually, how to get people to jump on Google Meets without signing in.
I think this one's a really useful one if you're running parent meetings using Google Meet at your school. So parents wouldn't necessarily need a Google account then when joining from a mobile. So yeah, that's going to be a popular update.
And then you would have to be admitted, actually. Yeah, by the meeting host, you would have to be admitted. So you would have the link, click on the link, and then the meeting host would admit that person into the meeting. Okay, so this is a mixed release. There's a couple of Google Workspace updates to Google Meet, but there's also a Duet AI, there I did it, Gemini AI release as well. And so it's all about the visual effects and the audio effects behind using Google Meet. So there's some studio effects, some lighting effects, some filters. Depending on the Google Workspace edition, you'll have different access to these effects. And also some of these are only available to Gemini, Duet AI version as well. So studio lighting, studio sound are just available to those AI customers. There's some minor enhancements into how that works.